And so let me start with mental health. And really, what I'm thinking about here is what's happening inside of the brain when we're experiencing this connection. Like what's actually going on in there? And what studies are there to show that? Well, there are many, let me say, first of all, and a lot of them look at these particular hormones and chemicals, okay, the ones that I'm circling right here: cortisol, phenylethylamine, dopamine, endorphin, oxytocin, prolactin, and cortisol, right? So many studies on these, but there's one particular paper that I'm going to draw on right now. And it's a relatively small study, but I liked it and it was easy to explain. So I'm going to choose that one now. There were 18 adults in this study. So 18 men and women who were selected. And these 18 people love dogs. They have dogs of their own. They were selected for a study where they would spend 10, 15, 20 minutes with a dog. Prior to spending time with the dog, they'd have their blood pressure measured and then their blood drawn. Their blood would then be tested for each of these neurochemicals. Now, meanwhile, there's a group of dogs, 18 dogs. These dogs don't necessarily belong to the individuals. They're male and female, spayed, unspayed, neutered, unneutered. It's kind of a combination. And they too had their blood pressure measured beforehand, and they too had their blood drawn. And then they were put into the social setting, and then the same was repeated. So they also had their neurochemicals measured and their blood pressure measured again. Give me a second here. I'm going to erase all this ink. So, one more second while I get rid of my pen. So the first result that showed up is that phenylethylamine was increased. Well, what is this? Phenylethylamine, it's a hormone that's found and called the chemical of love because it shows up when we get really excited when we're about to see someone we love. Okay, so like those jittery feelings that maybe we get in our chest, or if our palms get a little bit sweaty, it's considered the chemical of love. Often we'll see it written as, let's see if I can write, PEA. So you can look it up as PEA as well. And PEA has been shown in studies with things like chocolate. It increases when you have chocolate. So when people are given chocolate candy at Valentine's Day, it's perhaps to increase the PEA. And it increased after these people were petting dogs. And in other studies as well, it was shown to increase. When people were with their cats, it was increased. When people were with their dogs, it was increased. And it was increased in both the dog and the human. And so it was this chemical of love shows up when being petted. And I thought was really neat. As a side note, when I was looking these studies up, it turns out that the food source that has one of the highest PEAs is actually sauerkraut. And it has a much higher PEA than even chocolate. So technically you should be giving sauerkraut to somebody who you are wooing, not chocolate.